Everything's all good.
Alright.
All right, we're
Great.
live now. What's going on,
Oh,
Don?
hey, what's up, man? How are you?
Good, good, man. It's good to finally meet you. Finally get to talk to you.
Yeah, it's good to finally be met and to be talked to. I'm excited. Excited. I love doing podcasts.
Hey, you been out? How long you been out in Bali for?
Oh shit! Moved to Bali in August of 2014. So, you know, over 4 years, about 4.5 years now.
Damn, what got you to head all the way over to Bali? Cause you're originally from New York, right?
Originally born and raised in Rochester, New York, Western New York. Grew up there. Traveled a little bit in the States, and then went over to Thailand. Went to go visit my boy Anthony Leone at Phuket Top Team, and just kind of never made it back.
That's what happens to a lot of people in Asia, right? They get out to Asia, and then it's like the black hole out there or out here.
Uh, yeah, yeah. I mean, I've seen it happen a lot of different ways. Actually, it was kind of between jobs. I had some time off, and Anthony had been telling me to come out, and he, put me up, free place to stay, free training, and training in Thailand was always something that seemed pretty exciting to me. So I was meant to go for a month, and then extended that to 3 months, and was lucky enough to kind of catch on a job while I was there, and just decided I was going to stay, and kind of committed to doing 1 year out there coaching the MMA team at Phuket Top Team, and helping out with the wrestling program, and some other stuff. And was there with Anthony and Andrew, who Anthony and I have been teammates in New York since like 2005. So we go way back. Shared many hotel rooms and air mattresses in our old trainer's basement and stuff like that. So we were all there together for a year. Got to know Andrew a little better, and then while we were there, we met a gentleman named Steve, who was from Indonesia and was keen on doing MMA gym in Indonesia. Initially, he was talking about Jakarta, but we kind of swerved him over to Bali because we thought it was a little better fit for what we wanted to do. It was almost a year to the day that I arrived in Phuket, Thailand, that we were getting on a plane and moving to Bali. So it worked out pretty good.
Definitely, man. You guys are growing right now. You're in Jakarta. They're about to have a one championship card this weekend. How many fighters you got on the card?
We got two fighters fighting Saturday night here in Jakarta on the 19th for one championship. You can watch it free and live. Download the app, One Championship app. Stepher Jakarta, who's been with us for a long time, was one of the first Indonesian fighters to come and start training with us. He's on the main card, and then we've got another boy, Anthony Engelin, who's always kind of been training with us off and on, but has recently kind of joined the team full go. And we're excited to kind of see him show off his hard work and improvement. So we got two guys fighting them all night, and looking for two big wins.
Definitely, man. It seems like one championship is going to Jakarta a lot. It seems like it's just every year they're adding shows. What is the environment like of because MMA you don't really hear many teams out in Indonesia except for Bali MMA.
Yeah, I mean it's strange because there's a lot of gyms, not so many doing it on like an international scale. They have a pretty solid tradition history of they've had some good boxers. And Silat is like their traditional kind of. They don't have like a Muay Thai. It's not like Thailand where everybody knows Muay Thai, but Pencak Silat is like their kind of traditional martial art. It's like more of a standing, like striking, karate, kickboxing type of thing. But there's a lot of variants of it. I will say there's also a kind of an Indonesian-only promotion called One Pride, and they are broadcast on a local TV station here, TV1. And you've got Indonesia, which is like the world's fourth largest population. So the sport is growing in popularity here. One championship is growing. Like you said, they're doing like 3 or 4 shows a year here now, and they've got some solid Indonesian fighters. The talent level is growing. They got some guys that they can really promote and get behind. So every show they come back, the crowd's getting bigger. The crowd gets a little louder. They're understanding the sport a little more. So, props to One Championship for digging in and keep coming back and growing the sport here. But, I think they see the upside, just like I said, just the sheer number of people here. It's definitely a growing market, somewhere where a lot of people want to get into just because of the access.
Well, now, last week, you were actually in Taiwan, cornering your boy Rocky Lee. Unfortunately, he didn't, perform so well. But you've been all around Asia, man. Like, I'm in Asia, I'm in Korea, you're in Bali, you're flying all over the place, coaching Asian fighters, and then, you've coached all different kinds of fighters from all over the world. Coaching Asian fighters, like, what's the difference? Like, do you have to adjust yourself culturally to them? Are they different in certain weird ways? Can you talk about that?
Honestly, I think one of the biggest challenges is obviously language, right? So luckily for me, most people around the world speak a little bit of English and obviously body language, and we're teaching, fighting and jiu-jitsu and like kind of moves so I can demonstrate stuff. But I mean, for instance, we've got Jing Nan, who's the flyweight champion for One Championship, world champ. She trains with us. She speaks like 5 words of English, and I got no Chinese. So we're just like, we communicate. We're on the same page. She knows what I want from her, and I know what she needs, but it's very little spoken word. It's a lot of gestures, a lot of body language, a lot of, hands-on, grabbing each other and like showing this, show that. But we kind of figure it out, Outside of that, I really just think it's the sport coming from New York, where there's a pretty thriving MMA scene, and obviously in the States, it being what it is, you're kind of taking a little bit of a step back initially. The sport's just not as developed. A lot of the athletes high-level coaches aren't as accessible. You've got, certain countries in Southeast Asia, there might not even be a jiu-jitsu black belt anywhere in the country, so you're just dealing with, a different level in the beginning and kind of, you're starting at square one. In a lot of ways, it's fun, though, because you're not dealing with guys with a lot of bad habits and stuff. It's just like a brand new ball of clay and kind of mold them however you want.
With cornering someone like that, the champ you got, the Chinese girl, how do you corner them? Like, what are you saying to them in the corner? With this language barrier, like you said, she only understands 5 words or says 5 words. So it's like, what? How do you break that?
She understands 1, 2, take down, stand up. There's just certain things that, like, you go through a camp with a fighter, and there's certain things that you end up saying a lot, right? There's certain phrases or like techniques that you want them doing, so they just get used to hearing that. It's not necessarily like that they understand the English language, but when they hear a certain word, underhook, level change, certain things you're working on with them, they know it. They know it right away because it's what they're hearing in practice every day. So I found that actually a couple times we've had like other teammates or people there that help translate and stuff, but they don't really need it because they're not hearing it. Like for Jing Nan as an example, right? She's not hearing instructions in Chinese for 8-10 weeks at a time. She's just hearing me, she's hearing Mike, and we speak English. So, she kind of figures that out. Whereas like everyday casual conversation is much more difficult. But calling for like certain combinations or techniques, like she's on it. Like she knows exactly what's happening.
Last year, she was supposed to fight Anjali for the title. It's like the biggest fight you could make in One Championship, for at least for the ladies, for the women, right? And how disappointed, man, were you after going through that camp? It must have been a crazy intense camp. Talk about the camp leading up to that fight.
Well, that would have been Jing Nan's 3rd fight training with us, and they were all pretty much like back to back to back. So that fight would have been the culmination of about 6 months of like Jing Nan being with us consistently for that amount of time. And I think with each fight that she had, you're seeing her development come through more and more. And we're all a unit, right? Because it takes time as a coach to get to know your athlete and, try to implement things in their game where, if somebody comes to train with you for 4 weeks before a fight, how much are you really going to be able to do with them outside of just kind of getting them in shape and ready to go? So I think the more time she has with us, the more we're able to kind of tweak things and adjust things. And she was ready. I mean, Jing Nan is a savage. She puts some of the boys down. We have we're lucky in Southeast Asia. One of the good things, you got a lot of small guys. We've got some flyweights and strawweight fighters. That for her to train with, and she's an animal. You know what I mean? Like the guys on the team can't even take her lightly. So she was ready to go. She was really looking forward to it. We were really looking forward to her kind of putting that stamp. That is going to be a great win for her when she gets it. We've been delayed a bit. It's going to happen 31st March in Tokyo now. So we've had to wait a little longer, but Jing Nan's going to be that much better, that much sharper. It's not really, it's just a little obstacle for us to overcome. Obviously, there's disappointment. We found out the fight was scratched literally like 3 or 4 days before the fight happened. Jing Nan actually arrived in Singapore and heard the news there. So she was devastated. I feel more for her than for myself or anybody else at that point. But really, she's the one who did the work. Sacrifice being away from her family and her country. And like I said, being around a bunch of people who don't even speak the same language as her. She's stuck with us for like 10 weeks, and then she don't even get the payday. So that's rough for her, but she's a professional. She's a true professional. Handles her business. She actually just arrived back in Bali, I think today or yesterday while I was here in Jakarta. So she'll have a solid, 10 weeks with us before we go off to Tokyo for this next fight. And I'm expecting big things from her. She's gonna smoke it. I might look like a jerk if something happens and she doesn't, but for me, for our team, for our staff, we're all super confident. She's just on another level. Just the power, the speed, and the pure aggression that she brings is just not something Angela's going to do. She's used to fighting girls who don't even know how to do jiu-jitsu, just left her alone. That's going to try to punch a hole in her head. Hard time getting out of the way of punches against Yamaguchi, who's about 3 apples tall. Jing Nan's actually taller than her.
It's kind of getting hard to hear you. I think there's so much sound in the background.
My bad. I got all these loud Kiwis over here. We're like hanging out. All the coaches just rocked up. So our striking coach, Mike. I'll walk over in a little quiet. Won't have to deal with you guys.
All right, I'll wait a second. It's all good. But anyways,
just grabbing a table.
that matchup, Jinyoung versus Anjali, is so interesting to me. The dynamics of it is. I'm just interested to see how the size factor will play into this matchup. The strength. Is Jinyoung going to be stronger than Anjali? Is Anjali going to be stronger than her? Stuff like that. Like, what advantages do you see? Like, clear advantage do you see that Jinyoung has over Anjali?
I mean, outside of the ones I just stated, I mean, Angela's coming up, but from everything I've heard, is she has having a really hard time making strawweight, the limit there. So that's one of the reasons she's coming up. Because I think if she could make that weight, she would probably stay there. Honestly, I don't think she's looking forward to fighting Jing Nan. If I was Anjali, I'd be afraid of that fight. Angela doesn't really bring anything that would. I guess she's got jiu-jitsu. Everybody says jiu-jitsu, but her striking is pretty mediocre. The wrestling, pretty very good. I guess she's got good jiu-jitsu, but we've only seen her really against girls who don't really know jiu-jitsu. Her last, almost 2 years ago now, she barely won a decision against Mei Yamaguchi. I honestly think she probably lost that fight. I know one doesn't score rounds. If you score it round by round, she definitely lost that fight. You know what I mean? If you're looking at the fight as a whole, I guess maybe you can find a way that she won. But man, she's stepping up into a whole nother level now. Jing Nan's bigger, faster, stronger, more aggressive, and is vicious. And I think that's really the biggest difference. It's like she wants to hurt people. Like, you know, you meet a lot of fighters and stuff like that, and you know, you start getting to the type dealing with guys who really want to fucking, and that's what she does. She goes out and wants to lay a savage beating down on somebody. She don't want to lay on you and outposition you and like do any of that. She's gonna just ram her fist in your face until you're a bloody mess and the fight's over with. So I'm interested to see how it works out. You know, maybe Angela's got something I'm not aware of. I hope it's a great fight. You know, I hope it's back and forth and it's a battle. I hope Angela brings her best game plan and is in shape and has dealt with whatever, you know, injury she's been dealing with and is ready to go. Because if she's not, it's going to be a problem for her.
Now,
let's talk about the Jakarta a bit more though. That one's in the future.
all right. You're cutting out a little bit.
I think it's because the Wi-Fi in this hotel is really bad.
Try to get the location right.
Oh man, it's just tough. It's tough being on the road. You know, I'm like hotel to hotel and stuff like that. You can't always control things like Wi-Fi connectivity and whatnot.
All right, let's talk about the Jakarta card. You're coaching. You got 2 fighters out there that are going to compete. Stepher, let's talk about Stepher. You know, he started off incredible for one championship, but as of late, he has had some, you know, ups and downs. What have you seen change in him in the last, you know, few months?
I think just dedication. I mean, it's hard to say. I don't think he's changed a whole lot. I don't think he really needed to change a lot. You know, it's just about being consistent and, you know, getting better when you need to get better and continuing to improve. You know, I think Stepher was a little bit of a victim of, you know, the media machine a little bit. He had a good record. He got to like 9-0, and I think they were pumping him up and maybe a little prematurely started talking about titles and contention for that. So yeah, his last couple of fights, he was hit some speed bumps and then he's lost decisions. But they're both, you know, close decisions, and I think, you know, with some improvement, he can easily avenge those losses. It's not a situation where we walk away thinking like, oh fuck, we're never gonna beat that guy. You know, it's like, hey, we tweak this, we make a couple of adjustments here. These are winnable fights for us. So, you know, I think he's one good showing away from being right back where he was. And really, it's just consistency and hard work. About 8 or 9 months ago, we convinced Stepher to make the move full time from Jakarta to Bali. I don't know if you know much about Stepher, but he was coaching. We have another gym in Jakarta as well, and he was the jiu-jitsu coach there for a long time. And Stepher's in a bit of a unique situation because he lives with his mother and he's the main caretaker for her. And so he was really hesitant to leave for any length of time. So that he would come for a few weeks and then that was it. And I was really on him for a long time about making the move permanent. I mean, you know, you want to be a professional fighter, you got to live that life every day. It can't just be like a training camp here and there. We had to kind of deal with some things at home to make sure his mother was going to be taken care of. But yeah, about 9 months ago, he moved full time to Bali, and I think it's gonna pay off for him in the end. You know, like I said, we've had some adversity, but I think everybody has to deal with that in their lives, and then he's just gonna have to kind of work through it. And I'm looking for him to have showing tonight. You know, he's been a lot more aggressive in this camp with his striking and stuff, which is kind of one of the areas we need to improve. I think he's good. He's got all the tools. It's just a matter of getting kind of him to believe in himself a little more and to believe in the punches and the combinations that he's throwing and that they're going to be effective. So, you know, when he lands, we've had good results. So, you know, I think it's just a matter of putting the time in and sparring and continuing to train, and then, you know, you kind of develop that belief over time. You know?
Why did he decide to drop down in weight? Because he was doing so good, I think, at bantamweight. Then he dropped down. What was the reasoning behind all of that?
He was at flyweight and he dropped down to strawweight. One championship, one of the few organizations, that has a male strawweight division. Really, it just came down to, for us, looking at being a world champion, and that the fact that he can make the weight. We have other guys at that weight. Gianni Suba, who's already at flyweight. There's just a bunch of guys, and especially now with DJ in there, like that weight is a shark tank. So when we're looking at Stepher, and he's relatively small for that weight, he makes the weight really easy. So we figured, why not try and go down? Because in my opinion, at strawweight, he's easily, if not top 5 guy in the weight class. So in terms of chasing titles and trying to be a world champion, we thought that strawweight was probably for that. We're still kind of seeing how it goes. Like I said, we've had some adversity. We're looking for him to get back on track with this fight. But, going back up is always an option. We can easily have Stepher go back up and just put him on a lifting program and try to put some size on him. But, he's older. I think he's like 32 years old. So it's not like a thing where he's growing anymore. So we felt comfortable with him going down. Takes him a few weeks of dieting and stuff like that. But, I mean, he's able to make the strawweight limit and be fully hydrated. So really not an issue.
How are you feeling about this matchup with Robin Catalan?
I feel good about it. We fought his brother. They're basically like the same person. They look identical. There's like 4. I don't know how many of them there are. The Catalan brothers. They're like little clones. They're like little minions. I see them everywhere. I never know which one I'm talking to. But Stepher had a great fight with Renee Catalan in Manila, who's been on quite a win streak. He lost a decision. And now we're fighting his brother Robin, who doesn't have as good of a record, but he's going to bring that Filipino toughness, never say die attitude. He's obviously training with his brother, and Philippines has a long, rich fighting history. So we're looking for a good scrap. I mean, those are the fights Stepher needs in order to grow and improve. So yeah, we're looking for a good challenge, but we're confident. We're looking to win everywhere: striking, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, like wherever the fight's going down. We're being aggressive and hopefully coming home with a win, and hopefully a finish. I think maybe a submission. So
now moving on to Anthony. Anthony, I had the opportunity to interview him a couple weeks ago for his upcoming fight. He's going to take on a newcomer, undefeated Korean, this young kid. He's finished most of his fights. That's why One Championship signed him. And I'm pretty sure they expect fireworks from this matchup because both these guys come in and they like to strike, they like to grapple, they like to do everything. So what do you see in this fight? Do you see Anthony going in there and just crushing this kid and showing him like, hey, you don't belong in here? Or do you see a scrap?
I see a scrap. I just know, just from being out here, being around these Koreans, they're tough dudes. You mentioned you're in Korea sometimes. I don't know if you're Korean, but Koreans are always tough. You're going to have a hard time getting a Korean fighter out of there. You could probably give most Korean fighters the zombie nickname as far as I'm concerned. I have yet to see a Korean fighter who is not tough as nails. So that's what I'm expecting. I've seen a little tape on him. He's undefeated. I think he's like 5-0. So that's not a fluke that he's got that good record. So you're looking at a well-rounded, tough Korean fighter. So Anthony's got a full plate in front of him. Like you said, he's on a tear. We got 2, highlight reel finishes in a row. So this could be like a clash of the titans here. It might be a fight of the night, I'm just hoping that, Anthony can come out on top. We look, same thing. We want to stay aggressive in all areas. Look to, be aggressive in the striking, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, see how the fight unfolds. you know, it's always a little tricky. This guy's making his one championship debut, so I don't have like a lot of tape on him. It's hard to like look for like tendencies and things like that. So we're just kind of going in with an open mind and trying to focus on like Anthony staying where he is good and where he is successful, using his pick, mixing in his wrestling and his takedowns, and he's got a very good jiu-jitsu game. So hopefully we can kind of get in there and get another finish. We're looking to get a couple big wins in front of the hometown crowd. You know, for us, being Indonesian gym, we're in Bali. Jakarta's a different island, different city, but still kind of home territory for us. So we always enjoy coming to Jakarta for the shows, and we want to represent well. We want to represent Indonesia well. We want to represent Bali well. So this is a big night for us.
You mentioned earlier that Anthony just recently moved full-time to Bali MMA. How has it been working with him full-time, you know, within there for all of his camp?
Yeah, Anthony's in a bit of a unique situation. He had if you're like an old school hardcore MMA fan, you'd know the name Jinyoung from the famous Golden Glory gym, produced a lot of K1 and Pride fighters back in the day. Martin has a gym, or is involved with a gym in Jakarta called Tatsu Gym, and that's where Anthony was kind of working and training for as long as I've known him, anyways, for as long as I've been in Bali. And they've always Martin was his manager and his trainer. And then I don't want to necessarily speak on what happened and what changed, but obviously some things arise. Anthony has always come and trained with us off and on over the years. Our doors are always open to him. He's a great kid. We enjoy having him around. He's a good training partner for all of our fighters and stuff, and just generally a good guy to have around. So we always look forward to seeing him in the gym. But before he re-signed with One this last time, he gave me a call, and you know, he had said like, "Hey, some things have changed. I'm re-signing with One. I'm not going to have Martin around. Like, you know, I'd like to join the team." So yeah, we had that conversation, and he came out because he took that flight on short notice. So it was kind of like he came to Bali for about a week and a half, and then we were off the fight. So we didn't really have much time to do anything with him. Goes out, head kicks the guy, KO in like 30 seconds. So we're like, oh shit, we're the best coaches ever. You know, we got a guy for a week, head kick KO, like, you know, show me the money. And then like a week later, we had the last event here in Jakarta. And of course, Anthony gets the call. They're like, hey, it's like 4 days notice. You want to fight again? And he was already in shape and already on weight. Called us, hey, you know, they want me to fight again against this guy. What should we do? We're like, hey, go for it. You know, if you feel good about it, let's do it. You know, so did that. Gets in there, takes the guy down. RNC first round. Another quick finish. So literally, the kid signed a contract and knocked out 2 fights in the period of about 3 weeks. And now he'll have his 3rd fight within, you know, I think 3-4 months of signing the deal. So, you know, currently right now, the busiest fighter in Southeast Asia. But yeah, since that initial 2-week camp, we turned around, had the fight in Jakarta, no training required, and then pretty much came right back to Bali after that and got ready for this fight. So I know that he's still involved with the gym here in Jakarta and stuff, so he'll be one of our guys who will be in and out a little bit. He has to leave for some work responsibilities and stuff like that, but I imagine the vast majority of this time he'll be spending in Bali. You know, I think with the wins and all that stuff, he understands where he's at in his career, and he needs to get better, and I think he understands where he needs to be and what he needs to be doing in order to kind of get his goals.
Yeah, like I said, I interviewed Anthony. He believes that this is going to be a crazy fight. I actually interviewed the other kid, Won, the Korean kid. He also believes that since he's watched Anthony's fights, he's got a lot of knockouts, so he doesn't expect this fight to go to the judges or even into the 3rd round. He feels that he's going to leave it all in the cage, and like you just said, you feel that this is going to be a scrap. So everybody needs to watch this fight, man. Even though it's down on the cards, you still need to get on that app and watch this one, man. I also believe it's going to be crazy.
Yeah, I mean, hey, anybody that knows the fight game knows that sometimes the best fights of the night are on the prelims because you get guys that are out there just scrapping trying to get it, So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Actually, this is probably the most stacked card that one has brought to Jakarta. So I'm really excited for a good night of fights. I'm excited to see the crowd. Just exciting to be out here in Asia and be a part of this and seeing the sport grow and all these new developments and for us just creating opportunities for these guys and kind of, without sounding too cliche, but helping these guys make their dreams come true and do that stuff. It's been just really gratifying for me and for the Leones and when we started the gym in Bali and what our goals are and stuff like that. Through all of that, being able to kind of develop Indonesian fighters as well as our international talent. And even kind of creating our own event that we do in Bali and being able to use that as a fundraiser and give back to the community in different ways. It's just really, I didn't intend ever to move to Asia, but I'm just, really, really glad that I took the chance and came out here, and it's been just endless positive things happening for us.
Now, in the co-main event of this card, it's a rematch between Christian Lee and Edward Kelly. It's almost like the old school versus the new school. And Christian Lee was disqualified in the first fight. What are your thoughts on that disqualification? Do you believe that was a just thing to do, or did they make a mistake with that?
According to their rules, they did the right thing. But the rule is stupid. I'm sorry. Don't fire all my fighters. I got to be careful. I was actually at an event in China. This is going to be hard to describe, but I was at an event in China where one of the fighters slapped on a standing guillotine on the other fighter, right? So they're literally facing each other. One guy's head is down. He's choking him. The guy getting choked basically just hips in back arch, and the guy doing the choking went flying through the air and face planted into the mat. And basically got knocked out. And I don't know if he had some sort of neck or spinal injury as a result of it. But I think as a result of that, there might have been another occurrence that I don't know about. But shortly after that happened, they started passing this rule about no slam. No, you can't throw somebody and they land on their head and that. To me, it's kind of crazy. I know coming from the U.S. and where we were fighting, those rules, like, yes, you can't pick somebody up, turn them head side down and spike them into the floor. That's illegal, right? But if you execute a beautiful technique and launch a guy through the air and he doesn't know how to land properly and hits his head and gets hurt, that shouldn't be my fault. It shouldn't penalize the guy. Executing. So, like, in Christian Lee's fight, he hit a great throw. He had a beautiful throw. Just so happened he launched Edward Kelly through the air and Edward landed on his head. He didn't pick him up and put him on his head or turn him upside down. He just executed a beautiful technique. And it's actually a wrestling technique. And it's a technique I've seen wrestlers do and guys get done to them where they walk away just fine. I think part of that is because they also understand how to fall and how to land and things like that. So, you have these things. Sometimes you have, like, maybe inexperienced fighters, like that instance with the guy doing the choking. He could have just let go of the choke. He wouldn't have had to do the face plant into the mat. He really knew enough or was experienced enough to understand what to do in that situation. So that rule to me is a little bit of like a knee-jerk reaction to like a freak thing that happened. And is a little bit overblown. I think it's silly to penalize guys for executing good legal techniques. I shouldn't have to worry about whether or not this guy knows how to fall down right. You know what I mean? It's MMA. It's a rough sport. And I think as long as you don't intentionally like try to spike somebody on their head, then you know what I mean? Like what else do you want me to do? We're in there locked in a cage in a fist fight. So there's going to be some carnage once in a while.
Yeah, I remember that fight. That was a few years back. I remember the guy holding on to the standing guillotine and the guy in the guillotine just launched backwards and the other guy just slammed his. I remember that fight. I didn't know that was the reason why they changed the rules, though.
and he did it twice. He standing guillotine flung the dude, and they somehow got back to their feet, and then he did it again, and it was the second one that knocked him out. So it's like, man, the guy just like, I don't know if he froze up and just couldn't like, you know, like you get electrocuted and you can't like let go of the thing that's shocking you. It's like he couldn't let go of the guillotine while, you know what I mean? But man, it was crazy. Yeah, because then it was just like shortly after that, I started hearing this like, oh, no throwing guys. If you like launch the guy and he lands on his head, it's your fault. Coming from wrestling, I'm like, man, that's crazy. You can't make rules like that. But you know, they can do whatever they want.
Yeah, Christian Lee, he's a incredible talent, man. He's all around a great fighter, and he's only 20 years old, which is insane to think what potential he has. Do you see this fight going any other way? Do you see the fight, have Edward Kelly even having a chance in this fight?
I like Edward. He's a nice guy. Comes from a good team, Team Lakai. I know he'll be well prepared. I know he'll be in good shape and ready to fight. So you can count on that. But no, I don't. I think Christian's a bit too much for him. I think probably you'll get more of the same. I'm sure Christian's not going to take that risk and hit that same throw again, or with the same force. But I see Christian Lee walking away with a win, you know, pretty handily from this fight. I'll be surprised. I mean, I hope Edward comes out and gives him a run for his money. I really like all the guys from Team Lakai. I love Coach Moss. He's a really nice guy. I love competing against them. They're one of the teams in Southeast Asia that really forced us to kind of step our game up. So I love going head-to-head with those guys. I love seeing what they're doing. I really respect them. And, I mean, I want to beat them every time. I want to kick the shit out of their guys. But, you know, it's nice having those types of teams and competitors around to kind of keep you motivated and get you fired up, make sure you're on top of your game, you know. But yeah, I think Christian Lee, I think I see walking away with a decisive victory.
Did you see the rumors? I think it started like last week sometime that One Championship is going to introduce WADA testing, and I don't actually exactly know if WADA does testing, but have you seen these rumors and like they're gonna start doing this?
Rumor has it that they are. I don't know when or how. I think actually at this event, they're testing a few people. They haven't really made it public, like at every step of the way, what they're doing. But yeah, I know that they sent out a notification to some of the athletes and letting them know that they are going to be testing. So yeah, I look forward to it. I think it's one of the things that has kind of been missing over the years, and you've noticed that there's been like a lack of any sort of drug testing or accountability in that department. So I mean, it's good to see them taking steps towards that. I think, you know, I don't know if that has anything to do with this TNT deal or trying to kind of legitimize, you know, what they're doing. But yeah, I think it's a necessary thing. You're talking about, you know, I mean, they're out there making rules to keep people safe and doing all these things for fighter safety. You know, I really think they're on the cutting edge with the whole weigh-in with the hydration process and stuff like that. So they're doing some really good things, some really progressive things with the sport, taking some chances that I like to see. So it's good to see them kind of trying to clean up this other side of it too, because it's good to talk about fighter safety and we want to do this and we want to do that. But if you're not testing the athletes, then, you know, you're kind of putting them at risk as well. You know, I mean, I'm a fan of Mark Hunt. I'm a fan of like his stance on the whole thing. And, you know, these guys have limited careers. You know, you can take a limited number of shots in the head, stuff like that with what we know now about concussions and all that. And it just seems like, you know, if you're a clean athlete and you're following the rules, and an organization is not making sure that your opponent is doing the same thing, then, you know, they're doing you a big disservice. I don't want to get on like a pulpit about like steroids are wrong or anything like that. I just think it's, you know, you can't have some people doing it without and then some with. You know what I mean? You either got to say, all right, everybody, the floodgates are open and you guys can do whatever you want, or you're going to say we can't do it, and then we're going to do our best to make sure nobody's doing it. I mean, you're always going to have people that are going to try to push the envelope and cheat, stuff like that. And it's important that, so hopefully those guys are getting caught and they pay the price, So that, anytime you got big money on the line, guys are going to do whatever they got to do, But it's just good to see at least them make an effort, look out for the guys that are playing by the rules.
Yeah, with all this speculation going around, people on the internet talking crazy, it's good to have someone at ground zero tell it like it is, like what's actually going on. Because I hate reading stuff online from people that don't know shit. They just writing some shit that they just want to get some likes on their page, or so I don't know what they're trying to do. But you know how it is. You probably read it sometimes too.
Yo, the internet is crazy. There's like, you look at like the nicest post and you go down in the comments, there'll always be at least one person with that like negative or like talking shit or like finding some way to like, ruin your day or whatever. So I just do my best to not get caught up in that. You can't get caught up in the comment section because that shit'll ruin your day quick. So
definitely.
I all the way around, from everybody. You can't really, you want to make sure you're kind of seeing before you believe in with just about everything these days. I mean, the internet is crazy and people say things and organizations make crazy claims and fighters make crazy claims and fans make crazy shit. So, the only way to really know is to get in there and figure it out for yourself.
You mentioned earlier about the hydration tests, and one championship is trying to do their best to kind of get rid of the weight cutting. How much of a relief has that been for you as a coach to not have to sit in a sauna or worry about your fighter trying to make weight? How much it must be a whole mentally, it must be so helpful for the fighters too, right?
It's honestly in the beginning it's just really weird because you're used to, you develop like habits and routines. Like fight week, you show up, you do this, you do that, you do a video, you do a photo, and then Thursday you go find the sauna, cut the weight, weigh in Friday morning or whatever. Now that's like the routine got shuffled around a bit because there's none of that like cutting weight, right? So honestly though, everything is just smoother and easier. We do have like we talked a little bit about how Stepher dropped down from flyweight to strawweight. He has some challenges because it takes a pretty strict diet, and a lot of commitment from him in order to get himself down to that weight. Sorry, killing mosquitoes over here. Takes an extraordinary amount of dedication and commitment for him to get down to that weight and be hydrated. Because that's the trick. It's not just jump in the sauna, get to the weight, and then get on the scale. They got to be there and be fully hydrated. So, with some of the guys, it is a challenge. But it's more of a challenge. You got to put the work in throughout the camp. It's not a challenge really on fight week. Usually, if you're having problems on fight week, it's because the work wasn't done, in the lead up the way it should have been done, and I think that's kind of across the board. Usually when you see people having weight issues and stuff, you like to hear a lot of like, oh, I ate this or my body did that. I think a lot of times it's just like, man, with diet and weight, it's all just about routine and putting work in and putting time in. So usually something went wrong in camp or, a couple of cheat meals got a little out of control and, whatever, and then you have an issue. But for most of the guys, it's great because I think it really promotes with the hydration process, and they can't have these big swings in their weight. And if they want to be able to take fights on like short notice and take advantage of some opportunities, they really have to be keeping a decent level of fitness and keeping their eating habits under control year round, which ultimately makes them all healthier, better fighters. I went through a similar thing with wrestling. Wrestling has a very similar process. It's not like per match that you have to do this hydration. You do it once a year, but once they started instituting that, what you found is guys weren't having these yo-yo diets and big swings in weight, and having to do drastic things just to get on their weight, and then ultimately the performance is better. The athletes get better, and the performances are better. I think you kind of see that you're not having to scratch fights because of weight-related issues. You're not having guys get rushed to the hospital because, you know, they got really passed out or whatever it is. You know, when you're talking about, you know, putting on shows that cost millions of dollars and flying flights and hotels and all this stuff, you know, you want to eliminate as much of that as you can. So I think this process really, really helps that a lot, I think. And I think overall it's better for the fighters. It requires a little more commitment in between fights in the, like, quote-unquote kind of off-season and the off time. You know, you can't just veg out on the couch and crush burritos all day long. You got to kind of continue healthy eating habits and, you know, kind of stay in the gym and not let your weight get out of control. But I mean, in the long run, that's better for all these guys. You know? So, yeah, I think it's one of the – it was a big risk they took by doing it, trying it. And it's really progressive. I really like it. I think it would make more noise in the States, but we're just so far away in the opposite time zones. A lot of people just don't know, you know. A lot of American fans, you know, outside of the UFC, they don't really know MMA exists. So hard to kind of explain all these intricacies and stuff like that to the masses. But yeah, man, I'm at almost all these shows. We keep a really busy schedule. We had about 30 pro fighters training out of our gym now. So we have at least one guy on almost every one championship event. And I just think it's been a big breakthrough. I like it. No saunas, no, like, guys, you know, not eating for 2 days. People looking like they're going to die walking up. Yeah, you don't see any of that now. Most of you guys are happy. You know, once in a while somebody has some issues, or if it's a new fighter who hasn't had to deal with the process before, you know, there's a bit of a learning process and getting used to it. But outside of that, I think it's been great.
Yeah, man, like, you hear a lot of stories of fighters going to, for example, let's say China, or, you know, some obscure town or city somewhere in another country, and they can't even find a sauna. They're like scrambling to find a sauna to get in there to cut the weight. You don't have to worry about that anymore with one championship, which must be such a relief, man. Like, I don't, like you said, American fans don't understand. But with that said, though, have you seen TJ Dillashaw? Have you seen the pictures? Have you seen him do his open workout? What are your thoughts on him? Do you think that he's too sucked in?
No, I mean, you're talking about a guy who's already a UFC champion. He's got access to the best nutritionists, the best doctors. I don't think that he would take on that sort of a task unless he was confident. And I feel like I remember hearing stuff about TJ, like, way back when, before he was the champion, that he actually could make that weight. So, you know, I think you see, you know, that there's certain guys like you know, like a Frankie Edgar or like the Uriah Faber, who just kind of had that ability to, like, who didn't have to cut a ton of weight. You know, like Frankie was the UFC champion at lightweight, and now he's at featherweight. And from what everybody that I know that's close to him says, he could make bantamweight if he wanted to. You know what I mean? So it's not all weight. All the guys respond differently. Some guys, I've seen guys cut weight to the point they look like they're going to die, and then they fight great. I've seen guys have to lose a tiny bit of weight and they fall apart and then fight like shit, you know? So everybody's a little different. Some guys are mentally strong. They like the challenge of it, you know, and some guys don't. Some guys I've seen, you know, maybe they lose a couple of fights and decide they want to go down a weight, and it was the right move. And then some guys, it was the wrong move, you know? You know, and I've had experience with all that. You know, I've seen guys go up in weight and have more success because maybe they were cutting too much. Look at, like, you got a guy like Rumble Johnson. You know what I mean? Back when he was making lightweight or welterweight, and then ultimately ended up fighting in 205 and heavyweight. You know, I think it's, you know, it's not always like if I go down in weight, I'm going to be better. Like sometimes you lose a little speed, lose quickness, lose power. You know, I've seen guys, you know, they cut too much weight and they just don't have that pop anymore. You know, you kind of become a little slow, and it's hard to move fast, you know. So everybody's different, but man, I'm excited. I'm excited to see TJ and Henry fight. I think that'll be an exciting fight. I always gotta get excited when I see former wrestlers fighting and stuff like that. So to see two former wrestlers battling it out in a champ versus champ matchup, that's really exciting. I think it's great for the sport of wrestling. It's great for MMA. And both guys are good ambassadors to the sport. They're good people. They're doing the right thing. Yeah, so I'm excited.
Two interesting aspects of this is, yes, TJ is dropping down to flyweight. So after he cuts the weight, he recovers. Is he going to be more susceptible to getting knocked out? Another one is he going to carry his power down to the flyweight division? Very interesting aspects. The reason why I say this is because you saw Martin Nguyen, he cut down from featherweight to bantamweight. He still had his speed, but you could tell that he was lacking in his power when he didn't have that snap that like he had in his featherweight fights. So what do you think? What do you think is going to happen with this? Is that something that you see?
I have no idea what to expect. I don't know TJ well enough to really have an opinion on it. I think, like I said, I'm sure it's something he's been talking about for a while. So he must known in the back of his mind that he could do it. He must not get that heavy, that it's a crazy thing for him. And so he must be confident. He must be confident. So I assume, he's going to be out there guns blazing and all the same. With regards to him being more susceptible to being knocked out, like that's a possibility, I guess. Although, Henry's not necessarily a knockout artist, you know what I mean? Although he does have good boxing. So, we'll see. You don't really see too many guys at that weight who have that, like, one-hitter quitter type of power anyways, you know what I mean? So, I'd be shocked, to see somebody get, like, one-punch knockout in this fight. I think it would be, more a battle of attrition, battle of see, it might come down to who's getting the takedown. You got two good wrestlers out there. They both are decent on their feet. TJ's maybe a little more accomplished, a little more well-known, but Henry just knocked off, one of the greatest pound for pound of all time. So, man, it's just the more I talk about it, the more excited I'm getting to see the fight.
Definitely, man. It is. It's a great way to kick off 2019 to have a fight like this. When I watched the open workouts and I saw TJ and Henry Cejudo, seemed like Henry Cejudo was bigger than TJ. To be honest with you.
I'm sorry. Say it again.
Oh, when I was watching the open workouts, and I saw Henry Cejudo and TJ, when they were doing their interviews, it seemed like Henry was bigger, like he was more muscular, So it's interesting, man. Like you said, I'm excited for this fight too, man. It's gonna be crazy. Now moving on, you're in Jakarta. What else do you got planned? How many more fighters are fighting this month? Can you break down your schedule for the next maybe month or so?
I will try. I'll try. Actually, it's crazy. We got a little break here after this event for a couple weeks, and then we kick back off. We got another Indonesian fighter, Indonesian national wrestling champion, Elapitua Sidigar, currently undefeated, also strawweight for one championship. He's fighting in Bangkok on the 16th of February. Then I got Ev Ting fighting the Daggy, the guy who just knocked out Timothy
Sagid.
He's fighting him on 22nd of February in Singapore. Then we go back to Singapore on the 28th of February, less than a week later for One Warrior Series. I got two fighters on that, Nyreen Crowley from New Zealand and Zach Lang from New York. Then after One Warrior, we go March 8th. I've got Antonia from Myanmar fighting in Yangon for one. And then on the 9th, we're going to have three fights in three different countries. I got Tiffany Van Soos trying to reclaim her Glory kickboxing world title in France. We've got Anthony Leone making his return to the cage in Russia. And then Wally Tiao, another one of our Indonesian fighters, will be fighting back here in Jakarta for one prize. So that's going to be a crazy weekend. We'll have 4 fights in 4 countries in 2 nights. So I'm not looking forward to that. And then I think we get a little break. Then I've got Brave is coming back, is doing a show in Manila in mid-March. And so right now we've got two guys on for that, John Bruin from New Zealand and Satya Berhuria from India. And then 31st of March, we're going out to Tokyo for the one event. Will be Anjali versus Jing Nan. And there's a rumor that Andrew Leone might be fighting on that card as well. So we'll see. We might maybe see if we can get somebody else. So we got a packed slate. All the boys are going to be busy. We got, I don't know how many fights that is. I just rattled off about 10, 12 fights in the next 6 to 8 weeks. So we keep a busy schedule. My passport is getting a workout. I can tell you what the inside of a hotel room looks like in just about every Southeast Asian country at this point. But this is the life we chose. So, I love it. It'd be nice to get some gaps in there a little more, but like I said, we got 2 weeks off here. So I'll spend 2 weeks in Bali, kind of buttoning things up with the gym and touching base with everybody. And then we're going to just start reeling them off again,
It's a beautiful thing, man. Like all that, you have all that in your brain, which rattles my brain. It's incredible.
Yeah, I think because I have to go over this like daily with everybody. So I'm the guy that's like, hey, you got to remember this date. Like, you got this going on, and kind of coordinate with like sponsors and making sure guys got like their shorts are being printed and shirts and banners and like, yeah, it's a little tedious sometimes. It's a bit like a full-time job. Luckily, I got good partners back in Bali at the gym with Anthony and Andrew, and they hold me down while I'm gone, and kind of we all kind of work together and handle stuff. Plus, we brought in a new striking coach last year, Mike Aikile from New Zealand. He's done an amazing job. He's brought some more fighters out from New Zealand as well. So we kind of got this whole tribal thing going on, like takes the whole village. And, when one guy leaves, somebody else steps up and helps out. And the fighters are always there, like looking after each other and helping each other out. We got a bunch of good wrestlers, so it's not like if I'm gone, nobody knows what to do with the wrestling. I got Anthony, I got Andrew, we got Zach Lang, got like really strong jiu-jitsu, obviously the striking and stuff. So now it's just become this like, I don't know, it's like that, it's like the yeast ball with the dough, it stays alive.
Yeah.
Just pull a little piece off every once in a while, so that's kind of what we're doing.
Well, man, I enjoyed the chat. I appreciate the time, and I would like to do this again in maybe in a month or so. Catch up with you because I don't know where you're gonna be, so hopefully that place has better Wi-Fi. You know what I mean? So we can get it a little bit clear. So
maybe Tokyo. Hit me up in Tokyo.
Hey, I might be in Tokyo though. I might actually be there. Okay. So if I'm there, then we'll definitely be doing the interview face to face. All right.
We can do it. We can do it in person. Yeah, man. I appreciate you having me on. I'm always willing to come on here and talk about my team and stuff like that. So anytime. Just
all right, Don. Thank you for your time, man, and good luck this weekend and good luck for the next 3 months, man.
All right, man. Thanks a lot. Cheers. Thank you.
Peace.
Later.